Hello, I've returned for another tier list because I have tier maker open from making the Pokemon one, and I'm in the mood. Sometimes you get in that mood to make a tier list, and I am in that mood right now. This one is the Ultimate Shonen Anime Manga tier list. This looks very daunting, but I haven't read a lot of these, so it won't be as big an issue. And I'll just start moving stuff out because I don't have a lot. How I Got Kill is one I have read and I've watched the anime for. It's fine. I think I watched the airing and I read it pretty soon after and it was kind of just like, sure, that was fine. I have no big issues, but it also didn't do anything crazy for me, which is okay. It's not the worst thing ever, it's not the best thing ever. It's a perfect start off to get a good middle ground going. And more the other ones, I haven't read Attack on Titan, but I've watched it and I think it's great. I love it a lot. I'm excited to see how it ends. It's kept me consistently enjoyed. I just need to like have the ending so I can put it into perspective where I like it because I've heard it's very divisive and I haven't gotten spoiled on it yet, and I'm trying to avoid that. Get through these. Ayakashi Triangle I started and I didn't finish, but I want to finish eventually. Bakuman, one of the goats. I love this one so much. It's so the romance aspect is so pure, but like the creative process part is so interesting that I can't help but not love it because I love stuff like that where it's about like the creative process and art and all that kind of stuff. So I want to reread it. I have like a page of not a page, like a chapter reread on my Shonen Jump app, and I'm gonna reread it soon. But I love it. It's one of my favorites of all time. The only thing I have an issue with it is with the anime, but it's not really an issue with the anime. It's just kind of one of those where like I'm like, yep, this sure exists. Yep, I don't really have any strong opinions that it was doing anything good or crazy. It's just kind of there, which isn't a bad thing. Like it still is a good anime adaptation. It just kind of is. It's there. I'm glad it exists, but it's nothing crazy. My Hero Academia is a B. I think on a bad day it's like a D, and then on a good day it's like an S. Whenever All Might is involved in his big action stuff, it's an S. But then you get to some of the arcs where I'm like, just just get it over with. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. But I think especially the recent chapters, if you're caught up on the manga, have been like, yeah, the art in this is just the art when Horikoshi wants to hit, he kicks it out of the park. It's crazy. But then there are some times where it is just like, I'm not enjoying this, but I'll keep reading because I'm this far in and I want to see what ends. We Never Learn is based. I It knows what it is. It's a fun little fun little romance thing. The vein to Nisekoi. It would be a D because it kind of I like it less than I like Nisekoi, but I think it has the based thing where it gave every single girl their own like good ending, and I'm like that goes hard. I respect that, but the rest of it is kind of whatever. It has its moments, but it's not all great. Boruto, I think it's actually not that high. Boruto, I think is it gets better, and I think it's really funny in the early arcs where it's like, and some of the later ones where it's like, oh, Naruto's got to step in now. It must be a big deal. And I'm not as big of a fan of the children in the manga, but I think they aren't detracting from my experience that much. And I think some of the character designs for the adults, again, most of my thing with like Boruto is I like all the adult characters, and then the kids are kind of just whatever or like not as enjoyable. Because man, like Jiren, sick. Jigen, sick. So many great designs for the villains. I think it's a little overhated, but I haven't watched the anime where people say the filler's bad, but I've also heard people say the filler's the best part. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. That's just my take. I don't think it's as bad as people say, but I don't think it's anything crazy. Burn the Witch is just kind of whatever. Like, I don't have any strong feelings on it, but I don't remember being like, yep, this is great. Like, it's fine. If we ever get any more chapters, it'll maybe go up, but I don't really care about it, to be completely honest. It isn't really its fault. It just is getting released whenever whoever wants to release it. But it's there. It exists. It's not the worst thing, but it's not something I really care about that much. Chainsaw Man, S. It's great. It's been the most enjoyable week to week read I had in a while, where it's just like I don't know where this man is going in general, in life, in anything. But every time he does something, I'm like, wow, this guy knows it. He's cooking every second of the day. And it's just so much fun. It's such a great time, such a cool read, such a great vibe. I haven't read any Dragon Balls. I've watched Z and maybe the original. I'm not entirely sure. It's in the era of my life where I don't remember like 90% of. Death Note is a B. The as literally everyone else who watches this show says, with L, it's great. Once L leaves, it's not great. That's my take as well. I have nothing interesting to say about that. I want to reread it though, because I haven't read it since I was like a kid, and it was like one of the first manga I ever read to completion, and I really liked it. But I still can vividly remember when it changes, and I go, I don't like this as much anymore. Doctor Stone is also a B, but it's a B in the it's good, but never really great. Like I read it from start to finish. It was one of the first ones I read, like first chapter to last chapter, as it was being serialized. And it was good. Like I enjoyed my entire read, but I don't have anything strong to say other than that I enjoyed it, which isn't bad, but it also isn't good. Fairy Tail, F for Fairy Tail. I don't like it. It at best is enjoyable. It is a pretty good like early anime to get you kind of into things and adjusted to like how anime functions, but once you start watching other things, you're like, man, this is not great. Anime is high A, but I need to read it again. I haven't read or watched the anime in forever, and it may just be me being like, well, I don't know if it's actually the best anime of all time. But I think it'll go up once I reread it or rewatch it. I just have not done that yet. So it's just faded with time, but I think it's up there on my list of things to reread. I just haven't gotten around to it. The other ones, Frieren, this is all A. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy reading it a lot. I'm not caught up though because Viz hasn't updated the backlog, so there's like a stretch they haven't translated for the app that I haven't gotten to. But I could just read on Manga Plus, but I don't care enough to do that right now. I'm just gonna wait. I like Viz. I want to read through there. Much more I haven't read. Gintama. Gintama is S, but I haven't finished it. I'm still behind. Because there's like a gap in it where I started watching it and like near the big arcs because it was like 2015 and I was told it was good to watch standalone. It was just episodic comedy. You can just start wherever. And then I was like, oh, I'm being flamed for this by myself and cultural societal expectations. So I've been filling in the gaps, but I don't like the comedy sometimes. Actually, I think Gintama has like the highest peaks, but some of the comedy bits just do not hit with me. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, dude. This is not hitting me as it should. BTO I haven't read. We got Absolute Peak, the best manga ever written. Manga, human hands cannot conceive a better manga. Few stories can just make me cry on command in anime and in manga, and there are certain moments in Haikyuu where I just think about it, or I read it, and I just start crying. Very few stories can do that to begin with, and Haikyuu is that one. He is that guy. I've not read the shark, like something hard boiled shark detective or something like that. It's like a Heidi. It's fine, and no, I'll give it a low C. It's enjoyable enough. It's nothing crazy. It was one I read week to week when it starts to its end. It's an enjoyable series, but nothing groundbreaking. I don't have any big complaints, but I don't have any high praise. But not in like a good way, like Doctor Stone. More stuff I haven't read. I don't even know if these are. Hunter x Hunter, second place to IQ, because man, Hunter x Hunter hits different. I've read and watched the Chimera Ant arc, and I'm already like, what if I read it again? What if I do it again? It's just such a cool world with like the best characters, such a great world building. It's just such a fun time, but also such compelling arcs in and of themselves that I'm like, man, half of the arcs in this series are in my top 10 arcs of any fictional thing. And I think a hallmark of a good series is I finish it and then I'm like, man, what if I just reread it again? And all of these, aside from Gintama, I'm just gonna put down. I'm gonna put down here until I finish it. All of these I've reread at least once, and I'm like, man, what if I reread them again? Okay, more things I haven't read, more things I haven't read, more things I haven't read. JJK is probably top of A. I think it has, well, I think this could go up, but it's like top of A right now for me. Logan Tama. Gintama is better than that because it's been great recently. I've had a great time, and I think arcs like Shibuya are really good, but there are bits where I'm less engaged, and I have the Chimera Ant versus Shibuya brain rot where I'm like, man, it's just not as good, but in different ways. I still think it's great, but I think it'll fall, but I don't think it'll drop below like B. I think some of this is just recency bias because the recent chapters have been great and Shibuya's adaptation has been incredible. JoJo Part 1, I don't know if it's doing other parts. JoJo Part 1 is boring and I don't like it. I have read every single JoJo part. I'm current on Part 9 too, and I have no desire to ever go through Part 1 again. It was what kept me from getting into it. I just don't find it enjoyable. Nothing about it really keeps me engaged. But the thing about JoJo is it has progressively gotten better with each part. I just think Part 1 is just not. I do not care about it. I do not enjoy reading that. I don't know what that is. Kaiju 8. Uh, Kaiju 8 is my new Doctor Stone. Where I read it and I'm like, this is good, but I'm not. I have no issues, but I'm not like, man, this is peak fiction. It doesn't reach peak fiction. It's like fine. There's like a line, it's like this is a line I'm making right now where there's like peak, there's like good, there's good skewing peak, good skewing mid, and then like good skewing bad. Where it's like the good skewing peak is it's like My Hero Academia, where there are moments where I'm like, man, this is great, this is an absolutely incredible moment, but then there are moments where it's like not that great. Good skewing mid is like Doctor Stone, like Kaiju, where it's good but not anything crazy. It's in its lane and it's chilling. And then good skewing bad is the stuff that doesn't end up in. It's like Death Note, I guess. I've just made a trifecta here, where it's has moments that are really good, but then there's a moments or bits that are bad that kind of take it out from being great. I just invented that, and I'm gonna make a thing on that because I want to expand on that. Half of these I can't read. Kuroko I have watched. I like it. I think it. What's a low A? It's so much fun. Some of the arcs are just like a blast, and the power system is just fun. It's good to watch and just get hype over. But other than that, it hasn't stuck in my mind a lot, but I enjoyed what I did. Demon Slayer gets low beat, and that's only for the last chapter. I hate the last chapter with every fiber of my being. It is one of the few endings to a story that is stuck in my mind in such a negative way that it has affected the rest of the series because half the arcs I don't think about. I've read it all. I have finished two of the arcs in the anime, and I have fallen off of the other bunch of them. Because I have not finished watching season one, and I didn't finish watching Entertainment District, but I have watched Mugen Train, and I watched the Entertainment District. And I'll probably watch the last arc. It's just fine. Like, the arcs are not anything crazy. I enjoyed them when I was reading them, but that ending pisses me off. Like, genuinely more than it should, but it pisses me off so much. More things. I don't know what this is. Komi. Komi is good skewing mid. No, Komi skews good spinning skimming the good skewing bad. I think on the whole it's fine and it's like funny enough, but there are some chapters where I'm like, this is the millionth person you've introduced. They aren't funny. I don't want to see them again. And then they have like 3 chapters to have a little arc. Disclaimer, I started, I haven't finished it. I finished it. I watched the season of this and it was whatever. Mashal. Mashal is good skewing. No, Mashal is good skewing mid. I think the last arc is great. I really, really like the last arc. But there hit a point in the middle of it before we got to that arc where I was like, the joke is old. I'm kind of over it. And I think the last arc overcame that hurdle by going to such absurd heights where I was like, okay, this is great. Like, it's funny again. Whereas in the middle, you're like, oh, I get the joke. It's just not as funny anymore. I haven't read that. Don't know what that is. Red Mirror Nikki. Don't know what that is. Actually, it is. Working. I just didn't enjoy it. I read it all and was like, eh. It sure exists, but it was not something I cared about at all. Naruto. I think Naruto's pretty good. Most of my like upbringing, I would always see like things on Twitter and stuff where it's like, oh, Naruto's kind of mid, kind of bad. And like, I disagree. I think it's really good when it wants to be. Like, I think Pain is a peak arc, and I'm gonna, I think, watch it soon. But I think it's overhated. It's good, and I will stand by that. Nisekoi, it's just better. It's just better. We never learn. I like the characters more. It's better, but not by a lot. I guess it'd be my caveat. I don't know what that is. Noragami I haven't read. One Piece is peak. One Piece goes above. One Piece is, I think, one of the few things where when I see people being like, well, this was foreshadowed here, or like this is leading to this, that I'm like, oh, that's cool. Which I think differs to how I see with like MCU stuff, where they're like, well, actually, they've been teasing this guy since like this one frame in Iron Man 3. And I'm like, damn, I don't care. But One Piece does it, and I'm like, cool. I still don't really care, but that's sick. Because he's been cooking all along. And I think the recent chapters have just been incredible. Like, we are living through peak One Piece, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. I don't know what this is. Don't know what this is. Platinum End, I didn't read. Phantom Seer, that was fine. Like, Phantom Seer, I thought was getting. It was starting to find its footing, and then it was canceled. Like, I don't remember hating it. I was a little sad to see it go, but I don't remember having negative opinions of it, which is really the big thing. Everyone don't know. Rent a Girlfriend, I haven't read anything about, but I think everyone who's read it, like, should seek medical attention from what I have seen on, like, reaction comment threads or, like, Reddit threads and stuff where it's like, something is wrong with people still reading this. Like, seek, find out what's wrong with you. Something's up there. Based on my entirely just third person perspective, who's never. Actually, that's not true. I read like 10 chapters of it and went, I don't enjoy this. Sakamoto Days. I think, where did it go? It's in this Fuse Fine. Where it's like I have no complaints, but the hasn't really ever hooked me beyond that. It's good, I have no complaints. I just don't think it's great. That's really it. Very shamefully, don't I do? I read it. I read it. I'm like 10 chapters into this. I read this. Haven't gone there. Shokugeki no Soma. This is a hard one. I'm gonna say here. I don't like putting it here, but it's one of the few I've dropped because it got so bad. But I think it hit a point where it was great, and I was like, this is so much fun, such an enjoyable series. And then it rounded a bend where I was like, no, stop, this isn't good anymore. It's just bad. And that very heavily detracted it. Like the first couple seasons, I think, are like a solid A material. But then it hits a point where it just tanks so hard that I'm like, man, why you gotta do this to me? Or knows, Spy Family, another in the echelon of good skewing mid, where I have it's good but not great. I have no complaints. It's good but it's not great, in my opinion. Read these. I haven't read these. I haven't read these. I haven't read this. I haven't read this. This. Paradise Ghostwriter. It wasn't the worst thing. It picked itself up by the end, but it was not great to begin with. It was an interesting concept that fumbled the bag, I guess is the best way to put that. Promised Neverland, the manga is good. It has a really, really good beginning bit, and then it kind of. The first arc is great. Legitimately, really, really, really good. The rest of the manga is kind of. It tapers in arcs, where some of their arcs are pretty good. But the end it kind of tapers, and I'm like, it's not bad, but it's saved by the peak earlier in it. Trigon I haven't read. This I haven't read. This I haven't read. U19. I'm one of probably like the 4 people that remembers this series. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was fine. I was unsurprised it was axed, but I thought it was a fine series when it was here. I can't tell what this is, so I'm not gonna rank it. I think the rest of these I haven't read besides Yu Yu Hakusho. Where did it go? Okay, it's not in D. I think it fits like E. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is good. I really like a lot of the arcs. Once you get to like the Naguro find the Dark Tournament onward, like I think that is all really, really great stuff. And there are some chapters in there that I'm like, whoa, this is brutal. But I think the earlier stuff is kind of whatever to me, and the power system to me isn't my favorite. Mainly because for a lot of them, it feels like they're just getting emotional boosts, which I think he fixed with in Hunter x Hunter, where it is you still have to train to get your powers better, but the powers are interesting and unique. And I think a lot of powers are interesting and unique in Yu Yu Hakusho, but a lot of them are like, I'm sadder or I have achieved emotional catharsis, therefore I become stronger. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. Earthchild. I didn't like Earthchild. I read it from start to finish because I didn't hate it. I was just kind of one of those where it's like I'm along for the ride because I don't know what's going on and I don't think it'll last very long, so I'll just watch it. I'll not watch. I'll read it start to finish just to like get it out of my existence. And last but most certainly not least, you have Akane Banashi, which is an easy S. It's so good. It's one of the new Jump ones where I'm like, man, every week this has given me something to eat, and I am taking it and savoring every single second of it. And that is the Jump list of the things I've read. If you add the other JoJo parts, 2 would probably be a C, 3 would be a C, a higher C than 2, 4 would be a B, 5 is an S, 6 is an A, 7 is an S, 8 is an A, and that's it. All in all, I do like my shonen manga. I sure have read a bunch of them. And if we added even newer ones, I would be even further. But let me know your own list, see what you think. I'm sure you have differing opinions, but only time will tell.